We're in a tense time, I think we can all admit, and most of our dialogue is political. We need to not forget a lot of what's so cool about this country. My perspective comes from living in 4 other countries, traveling to 85. If you go in with an open mind and you're cool to people, you get that back.
One of the YouTube channels we've been watching is Peter Santenello's channel. He's got 4.27 million YouTube subscribers. He's traveled all over the world, but all over America. He actually has this really great new book called Your Fellow Americans.
More pumped on the country than ever before, which sounds odd to most people. I have 2 styles. So one is I meet up with someone that, let's say, is an expert. I want to get into that world and show that perspective. Other videos, about half of them, I call it wing it videos, where I have a plan, what I'm gonna do, where I'm going, but it's really who I run into along the way. I never know what anyone's gonna say, and it's my responsibility to be the conduit to bring that message out, whether I agree with it or not, and let the audience see it. When you can understand where someone's coming from, it definitely develops empathy.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree.
When you're open and you're curious, it gets so much more interesting than when you think you know what it says about somebody.
You know, I want my videos not just to be a travel video. That doesn't interest me. I would do something else. But is there meat on the bone? Is there substance in there? Can we learn something? Like, what's the culture doing? I want everyone to be able to watch or read this and
I felt good reading your book. I've lived in 2 of the places, and then I just did a road trip down through the redwoods. So
Okay,
I felt like I was reasonably familiar with it.
All right. What places? So in the redwoods?
We started in Seattle and we drove down through Sacramento. So we did all of Oregon, or basically all of Washington, all of Oregon, and then a little bit of California at the top, and then down through. I had a talk in Portland and San Francisco. So we started in Seattle and did a road trip with the kids. So that was the most recent one. But then I've lived in East LA and I have lived in Louisiana. So I've done all of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You have stories.
Yeah, I do. I'm a big road trip guy. I think it's like the best way to see a place.
100%. And we're in the country for it.
Yes. You said America is kind of like a choose your own adventure country, or like it's a country I think you have to see by car. I mean, we did invent the car, so it makes sense that you have to see it by car. We also, I guess, invented the
My
freeway.
wife, who's from Ukraine, says it's a build your own bowl country.
That's what you said.
Pick your protein.
Yeah.
Pick your toppings, your dressing.
Yeah.
And that's geography, that's climate, that's even politics. It's who you want to be around.
Yeah.
Million choices.
Driving from Washington to Sacramento, it was weird going like, it's June and it's cold in America. I was like, what? You know, and like not being in Alaska or something. I'm just like, wait, it's cold. Like San Francisco was the warm place on the drive. And I was just like, what is happening right now? Because I left Texas, it was like 100 degrees. Yeah. And I basically didn't see the sun for like 5 or 6 days. And then, you know, like the ocean in Seattle is so radically different than the ocean even in San Francisco.
Yes.
And then I've lived in LA, and then you're like, how is this all the same? Then we've been in Hawaii a couple months earlier. Just like so many cuts on the same thing. But the United States is so big that it totally changes what you're experiencing.
Yeah, and you can fly around, obviously. People have been to Las Vegas or New York or Miami, but when you connect it through that road trip, and then when you get off the highways, and then you really start connecting the dots, it's endless.
Yes.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that you find, and to me, this is what I sort of took from the book, is like, people are people.
Yeah.
Like they're all, even though they might speak with radically different accents, they might have different political views, they might have very different lifestyles, but like it's all basically people. I mean, you get that travel all over the world, but you also get that at home.
There are very few. I don't swear on my channel because I got a bunch of kids watching, so I'm going to try to continue that. Okay, jack offs. Let's call them that. There are very few, right? If you go in with an open mind and you're cool to people, you get that back.
Yes.
I run into very few problems. Like, I can't even think of any.
Yeah, it is weird. People are like intimidated by travel, and I don't know if I've ever experienced anything that would confirm that intimidation anywhere I've been in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Although it was funny, we just got back from Rome, and on the way, we were in the airport in Detroit, and our plane was like horribly delayed. And we're in this airport lounge, and my kids were being crazy because they'd been good for like 5 consecutive hours, so they were just running out.
Yeah.
And then this Italian lady comes over, and she's just like, "Do you have to yell?" She like yelled at
Yeah,
them
yeah.
for yelling, and they were just like, "What is this?" They were so shocked. And then the irony was like, we're like, "Okay, we're so sorry." And then this lady came up to us after, a different lady. She was like, "I thought your kids were totally fine." And she was like, "By the way, that lady that yelled at you, she was listening to an audiobook without headphones on in her part of the the lounge." And you're
Right,
just like,
right,
you
right.
know, I was like, great. Okay. I actually think that's a much worse sin, but
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. So you've been to a lot of these places
mhm.
in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
any new places you didn't know
Well,
of?
I've never been to Alaska, so I thought that was fascinating. And then even, let's say, like, that is another thing you find when you travel is like you think a place is one place, and then you realize like
Yeah.
it's a place plus a bunch of islands. Or do you know what I'm saying? Like you're like Alaska is Alaska, and then it's also a bunch of islands. Like you think Taiwan is an island,
Mhm.
but Taiwan is an island and other islands. Like the Philippines is like a bazillion islands. Like
It's too much for one mind to comprehend.
yes,
So we use easy labels like
yeah,
the US is this, Italy is that, right?
yeah,
And then you can break it down to like Texas is this, California is that, right? And then you can break it down to counties.
hmm,
And then you can go granular on the town.
yes,
And every town's in its cycle right now in America. It's either coming down at the bottom or going up and peaking. And so I was just in Austin, haven't been in Austin for a little bit.
yeah,
Lot of energy there, a lot of excitement.
hmm,
You can feel that's on the up,
yeah,
or I don't know if it's at the top, but it's on the up, it's rising.
sure,
I was just in Maine, did a series there, was in a town where it's on its floor,
right,
right? So even when you talk about a state or even a county, it depends where you are in that place.
sure,
But it's too hard to explain all that.
yes.
I try to get into that in my content. Don't label easily because Sacramento is
Where I'm
different than
from,
Tahoe.
yeah,
Roseville's even different.
yes,
I love the Sierra foothills,
uh huh,
Nevada City, Grass Valley.
mm-hmm,
You can live a different life out there.
totally,
So a lot of Americans, we're in a tense time. I
yeah,
think we can all admit,
mm-hmm,
and most of our dialogue is political,
yeah.
which a lot of it's needed, and we should have that conversation. But politics isn't everything, and we
Well,
need to not forget a lot of what's so cool about this country. And my perspective comes from living in 4 other countries, traveling in '85, and then in 2020 coming back from Ukraine, lived in Ukraine for 4 years, and seeing America in a whole different light.
yeah,
More pumped on the country than ever before, which sounds odd to most people,
yeah.
but that's what the videos capture, and that's what the book captured.
Well, the politics thing is interesting because people will go like, Texas is red, California is
Right,
blue.
right.
And it's like, well, I live in Austin, which is blue in Texas.
Yep,
And then I grew up in Sacramento in a county that was incredibly red, like one of the most red counties in California at that time.
yeah.
And so it's like my experience was conservative upbringing, living in a liberal
Yeah,
place now, but on a zoomed out enough map, that doesn't seem like it would be true. And then
100%.
of course it's like for the people that live there, it's like what is their friend group like? What are their neighbors like? If you're talking to a theater kid in South Dakota, they might have one experience, and you're
Yes,
and you're talking to, you know, a son or a daughter of parents with a very different occupation, they could, it doesn't match the labels, I guess, is what you
it
find.
doesn't at all.
Yeah.
In California, okay, I live in Florida now.
Yeah. Where in Florida?
I live in Palm Beach Gardens, north of West Palm,
Okay.
about 20 minutes, so hour and 20 north of Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, Florida has its labels, California has its label. I lived in California the majority of my adult life,
Yeah.
right? And both labels are true to some degree, but then once you go granular, you can break them up in 2 seconds, like with what you just
Yeah.
said. You can choose in either one of those big states like Texas, Florida, California. They're their own countries.
Yes.
There's everything there,
Mm-hmm.
every type of person there.
Yeah. What's the line about Florida? Like the further north you go, the deeper south you get.
The further south you go, the more north you get.
Yes.
And so northern Florida is deep south.
Yep.
You go down far enough, it's all my neighbors are New Yorkers or from Jersey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then when you get down south enough to Miami, it's
Yeah.
the capital of Latin America.
Right.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
It's all mixed up.
Yes.
So Florida is redneck as you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's as gay as you want. You have Key West.
Sure.
You have Miami Beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's as Latino as you
Mm-hmm.
want. It's as retiree as you want. It's as
Disney
business.
as you want.
Disney, it's business centric, a lot of entrepreneurs. It's like Texas, it's attracting creators.
Mm-hmm.
So it's many things.
Yeah.
But we often go off the last bit of information we have.
Yes.
For example, my mom, when I said I'm moving to Florida, she said, What are you retiring? She's like, she's going to be around old people.
Different places mean different things to people based on the era that was most formative to them.
Yes. Or let's take Mexico City, for example. When I first went there in 2008, so many people said, don't go there. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're going off information. Yeah, there's danger there, sure. But they're going off information when it was way more dangerous.
Yes.
Or you could even say that with the Balkans and Sarajevo,
Mm-hmm.
for example. Go to Sarajevo is fine to travel to now.
Yeah.
The last bit of information, people have the war in their head.
Yeah.
Quite often.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard to correct impressions.
You have to update constantly. Yeah. All these places are always changing. San Francisco, where I left, when I left in 21, it was at its low point.
Yeah.
Right now, it's much better than what it was.
Right.
Totally different. Not totally different, but a lot better. And so people will go, oh, it's so terrible there. But have you returned lately? Have you checked it out lately?
Yes.
So to go with everything, I mean, it's the same story with everything. It's just the book tries to go into these stories through individuals in this country that most people probably have never met, these types of people, because we're all in our bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter where you live. You can be in the richest neighborhood, you can be in the poorest neighborhood. Everyone's in a bubble. And this gets you out of your bubble into a different bubble.
Yeah.
Smith Island, Elizabethan English still being spoken there. I met this guy, his family's been there 370 years. Because it was so removed for so long. The old timers still have some of that accent.
Yeah, like there's a Texas German, then there's Louisiana French, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And like that feels like it would have been a long time ago, and then it's not. The tradition is still there.
I don't know Texas too well. Does Texas, when you get close to Louisiana,
Yeah.
is there any of that Cajun culture coming over?
A little bit. I mean, yeah, Houston and Beaumont, like there is. You're just so far north in Louisiana. You're out of it.
Okay,
a
yeah.
bit. I mean, there were towns like there's this story that Robert Caro tells in his book on Lyndon Johnson, where one of the first sort of foreign leaders that Johnson entertains when he becomes president is the Chancellor of Germany.
Right.
And he brings them to, was it New Braunfels? Some town in central Texas, or right around here in the Hill Country, one of those Texas German towns. And the guy's just like, what is this? He's like, I'm back home.
Yeah.
You know, because like the Germans had come there, 100+ years earlier, and the community they created was so insular, they were so isolated that it was basically Germany, and you forget that America was, I mean, like the idea of the Six Flags, right? Like how many different flags have flown over Texas or these different parts of the country that feels like distant history.
It's not that
and
long
it's
ago.
not. It's 1 or 2 generations in some cases.
Right. The thing is, we adjust and change quickly.
Yeah.
Which makes it exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing all the cranes in Austin right now. My hotel, I'm looking down on a massive construction site.
Probably
coming out
convention
here.
center,
yeah, convention center.
Yeah.
Coming out here, you can see the sprawl coming out. It probably doesn't make you too excited, I can imagine.
Yeah,
Or
you
maybe-
move to a small town and then it doesn't stay small.
Right, but this is happening all over the country. It's like places are attracting or detracting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier for people like you and me. Well, you're pretty tied in with your bookstore, so you're probably not, it's not easy and you got kids here. But if you're working online, it's a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
Hey, this place, I want to go where it's going to work better for me. And you pack up and move, and it's happening all over the country. And I think it's fascinating.
Yes.
I mean, we've always been a country of migrants. From abroad and internally, people always moving around for the opportunity.
It's weird because there's kind of a divergence there, right? It's like some people are incredibly mobile and some people are not mobile at all.
Yes.
And so much of the driver of American prosperity was like, if New York was on fire, if LA was hot, people could go there and live and work. And part of the problem of the housing crisis is that it's hard to move, right? If you have money, it's not hard. If you don't have money,
Yep.
it's very hard.
If you have money, you're not tied in super deep to your community,
Yeah.
many generations. And I'm sure out here there's a lot of that, which I admire
Yeah.
very much. I think it's very cool. The more I travel the country, I really admire these places where the family's like 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
generations. It's cool. I think it's an awesome thing. You either have that or you don't. But so fresh in the American story, all our ancestry, how insane were they? They're just
Yes.
like, I'm going to leave my language, my work, my family. I'm going for this new thing. No guarantees. We'll see what happens.
Have you seen the new Little House on the Prairie?
Haven't.
It's kind of an interesting take on it because, like, we've often celebrated the pioneers as being like courageous
Sure.
and whatever. And obviously there's the whole, taking other people's land part of it that we
Yep.
didn't do a good job talking about in the past.
Sure.
But the other thing we've missed is that, like, it wasn't all like, to borrow a very offensive phrase, we weren't always sending our best. Like it
Right.
wasn't it was not people with options that were choosing to cross the plains by wagon, okay? Like these were somewhat impulsive people. These were people that had blown up their lives. These were people that were fleeing from something. And so one of the things they do a better job of in the show is like, why are they moving so much? It's like, because the dad's kind of not a deadbeat, but like not like the reason Lincoln moves around a lot as a kid is his dad was just kind of a ne'er-do-well, right? Like if it's working, you stay where you are,
That's true.
And
Yeah.
so part of that American spirit is like, it's not working here. I'm gonna walk 1,000 miles and start fresh in Oregon
There's
or
some
whatever.
gold over there.
Yes, and that there is a little bit of, I mean, it's fundamentally irresponsible to take your family by covered wagon through
To
unsettled lands and, because
to be in the Donner Party?
yeah, because you read a newspaper article that said there's stuff over
Right.
here, and then this guy sold you a map.
Who'd be the modern day version of that?
Well, the Donner Party guy was a charlatan, like the
Yeah.
guy that sold them the
Yeah.
secret path or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he was like an internet marketer, basically, right?
Yeah.
He was like, "This is how and so just to follow that is also crazy, you know?
It is crazy, but there's that adventure in all of us, right?
Hmm.
To some degree. Some
Yes,
have more of it than others.
yes,
And I could imagine in those times you're just getting by, and then it just sounds so good. It's sort of like the internet today, right?
hmm,
Some people can make something sound so great,
yeah,
and
right,
people follow it,
totally,
right? And so you're like, "Oh, man, my life sucks, but I'm gonna get some land over there, Homestead Act, 160 acres.
sure,
I can farm it. I can live my dream."
yeah.
And
And
they go
now
f
it's like, oh, you're watching a trad wife, or you're watching a this person or and you're like, that's what I want my life to be.
just a different medium, huh?
Yes, oh, totally.
Similar impulse,
Hmm.
different medium.
And the same people willing to tell you what you want to hear and sell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
The wishful thinking of hearing it and not checking it too closely.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all there. One of the things I was thinking about as I was reading your book is like travel is a little bit like reading in that there's all the places you want to go, just like there's all the books you want to read.
Mhm.
And the problem is some places traveling to once or reading once is not enough, right? Like it's hard to justify rereading when there's all these books that you haven't read.
Right.
But there's something about traveling to the same place. Like we were just in Rome, and it's maybe my fourth time, and it was crazy to think I'm walking around in the Forum. I could afford this time to hire this really good guide, and she's showing us stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing this, and she's like, oh, this just opened. And
Mm.
I'm like, it's been here for 2,000 years. And I was here 10 years ago and I couldn't see this.
Yeah.
Like they just excavated it. So like 10 years is that in
Yep.
Roman history, but it fundamentally changed the experience that I was able. So like it's hard for someone to afford to go to Europe once.
Mhm.
It's hard to do a family road trip across the United States once, but actually you have to do it like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times to actually get it, you know?
Yeah.
And so this tension between reading and rereading, traveling and
Mhm.
coming back is like that's the tricky part.
That's a great comparison. Yeah, that one, I mean, it's a good problem to have, firstly,
Mhm.
but I understand what you're saying. Like, I'm not trying to toot my horn. I've been to 85 countries. I could have been to all of them,
Yeah.
but I went back to Istanbul 20 times.
Yeah.
Lived in Ukraine, wanted to go to somewhere warm in the winter. 2 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And I love that city. It's fantastic. In Italy, how is it? It's really hard not to go back to Italy.
Sure.
So I get you. And the older I get now, I don't need as much adventurous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to go to Pakistan again. Iran, I don't really think that would go so well these
Not right now.
days, right? But going back to some more stable and I'd say easier travel places as you
Mm-hmm.
get older makes sense.
It's like, are you going to understand a handful of places really, really deeply?
Yeah,
Or are you going to have been like, you hear they're like, oh, we're going on this cruise and we're going to stop in 16 cities. And
yeah.
you're like, okay, you got 2 hours here, 1 hour. I mean, it's better than nothing, but like you
It's
skimmed the surface.
it's go everywhere, see nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's a tough balance, and that's tough to sell to someone who gets 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're working the average job in the United States, what are you getting, 2 weeks?
Maybe.
Right? And so Christmas, family, Thanksgiving, family. You're lucky if you're going overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got 6 days in Italy.
Yeah.
Do you just wanna stay in Rome and just see Rome, or you're like, "I gotta see all these things I've always
Right.
dreamed of going to?" Yeah, it's about and everything's everything's a choice, I saw with my father when I was growing up, we never traveled growing up, and he never got vacation time. His industry didn't allow for it, and so I'm like, "Okay, if I wanna see the world, don't do that."
Yeah.
And you can sort of line it up at a younger age and be like, "Okay, these are my priorities," and maybe you don't know your priorities at
Yeah.
18, but if you're like, "I really want world travel," well, you can X a lot of things off your list.
Sure.
And you might be broker than your buddies who got that corporate job
Yes.
and ascended the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That's all a personal choice. Or, you know, there is some of this attitude like you got to, the more well-traveled someone is, that, the higher they are in the hierarchy or something,
Yeah.
which I think is total BS because, I've sacrificed not having a family. I'm married. We don't have kids. And so to do my work, the sacrifice in that is, well, if I want to be a great parent, I'd have to cut back on that.
You have the fantasy of traveling with your kids, and then you realize, like, it's actually not really fair to them. You know what I mean? Every time I hear someone, they're like, "We're selling everything, and we're gonna travel for a year on a sailboat." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. I'm sure that's actually great for your kids, not
Right.
a nightmare."
Right.
But, no judging, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like kids need routine and structure and obviously also novelty and adventure, but, like, they wanna go to their friend's house. They don't wanna go to France.
And when you become a parent, that's your number one priority, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be, right?
Mhm.
I would think. And
Yeah.
so the greater point is everything has a sacrifice. And
Yeah.
just seeing as many countries as possible
Yeah.
doesn't win you any award, in my opinion.
Yeah, they don't get a prize, and you're probably not on your deathbed being like, "I'm so glad I saw all the countries. Done." You know? Like,
Right,
you're
right.
gonna be thinking of a handful of experiences, not
Ye
not the long list.
The beauty, and you're gonna get a very pro-American talk with me
Yeah,
because that's the premise of the book
sure.
and in my videos, and the beauty of this country is you do have a lot of people have that option. I get it. If you have health issues, if you're taking care of your parents, you're not going anywhere, but more than anywhere I've seen, and I've been very open-minded with it, you can cut your own life here.
Yeah.
You wanna open up a bookstore, have a cool pod, do what you've done, live in a small town in Texas, go for it. You can do it. And many places in the world, let's take Ukraine, for example, it's war now, it's a bit different, but if you want to take your career to the top, there's pretty much one or two places to go.
We just got back from an amazing vacation in Italy. I'll bring you some clips from it over the next couple weeks. I recorded a bunch of stuff while we were there. Although it was as hot as it has literally ever been, it's one of the best family trips we've ever had. And we stayed in this amazing palazzo that we booked on Airbnb. It was like 500 years old. It had all these Roman funerary headstones in it, which is this crazy memento mori thing. It was like staying in a museum. And the hosts were incredible. They lovingly restored this place. They took amazing care of it. And by listing their place on Airbnb, they get to share this amazing experience with people from all over the world and get funds to put towards upkeeping and restoring their place. If you're planning a trip this summer, it's worth considering listing your place on Airbnb. It can be a great way to help offset the cost of your vacation and earn a little extra money to put towards your next adventure. Your place might be worth more than you think. And all you got to do is go to airbnb.com/host to find out more. You also see this in foreign countries, particularly Europe. You're like, oh, like the social safety net creates a floor,
Yep.
but there's also kind of a ceiling. You're
100%. Yeah.
like, oh, like waiter is good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there is, especially like for young people, there's either like if I stay here, there's limited opportunities or I have to leave.
Yep.
And you can kind of feel that. And in America, you can leave and just go to another part of America because it's so big and you have
And
so many
without
choices.
having to do anything with the government.
Yeah,
Okay, you get a new driver's license.
sure.
Play
Why not?
there are other countries you have to get approval to live in different regions of the country.
Yeah.
You can't just get up and go.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, my wife being Ukrainian, I lived there for 4 years. We were married a couple years before we came back to the US, and just seeing it all through her eyes.
Mm.
And she edits all of our content. So that's a full-on crash course on America. Seeing
Sure.
different regions,
Just how insanely big it is.
insanely big, and how different the people are,
Yeah.
and super pro, like the most pro-American person I know.
That's funny.
'Cause she loves it. She's
Sure.
totally embraced it. She speaks English perfectly. She didn't go for the, "Hey, I'm just gonna get Ukrainian or Slavic friends in America,"
Right.
because that's easier. She really made an effort to integrate, make American friends. She has friends from all different backgrounds, but,
Sure.
and she's fully in and absolutely loves it. So it's to see it through her eyes, like, probably like how I don't wanna equate my wife to a child, but you're seeing things through someone else's eyes for the first time. You're like, "Oh, I didn't think of that," or "I didn't see
Yeah.
it that way," and she was a big help in this project too.
That's why it's important that Americans travel so you can
Yes.
see how other countries see the world and then how other countries see you. Like one of my favorite passages in from Bill Bryson, who's like one of the
Yeah.
greatest travel writers
Sure.
ever. He's talking about being in Australia and picking up a newspaper
Yeah.
and just how absurd the news felt to him. He's reading about some murder and it's not scary because the names are ridiculous and the circumstances, don't seem real. He's
Mhm.
reading about their politicians, but he doesn't care. He has no stakes, right? He's just able to see it as this thing. And then, we were in Australia 2 years ago, like during the 2024 election.
Mm.
And on the one hand, it's weird how much American politics are on the front page of
I
other countries' newspapers and then also their news broadcasts. At the same time, watching it through another country's eyes, we were also watching Olympic coverage from another country.
Yep.
And you're just like, oh, yeah, they're rooting for different people.
Yeah.
You're watching the same thing, but the lens is different.
Yep.
And it forces you to realize, oh, like my perspective is not the only perspective, and
100%.
that everyone is going around. It's like everyone's the main character in their own movie,
Yep.
and every country is the main character in their own movie, even if America looms so large, literally and figuratively, in other people's stories.
Yeah, in international travel, it allows because 'cause we're in the game. I like to say we're in the game right now.
Yeah,
We're on it's World Cup time or just finished. We're on the football field. When you're in it, you only see what's in front of you in that perspective, and then when you're in the stands, you're looking down at the game from a different perspective, and that's international travel. I've learned more about the US in many ways from being outside of it and
yeah,
viewing it as a spectator than sometimes when you're in the thing.
and that probably is. I mean, in your videos, like there's usually like some person from there showing you around, right? Like you have that person's perspective on that
I
place
have
that you're
2
in.
styles. So one is I meet up with someone that, let's say, is an expert, is gonna
Yeah,
like, this next video we're doing is about a lobsterman in Maine, and
yeah,
so I wanna get into that world and show that perspective. Other videos, about half of them, I call it wing it videos,
yeah,
where I have a plan what I'm gonna do, where I'm going, but it's really who I run into along the way.
sure,
And the goal is to show the audience, like, things are way more mixed up than we ever think they are.
yeah,
I never know what anyone's gonna say. And it's my responsibility to be the conduit to bring that message out, whether I agree with it or not, and let the audience see it.
yeah.
Sometimes someone will say something, that's over here, and then the next second they're saying, someone else is saying something that's totally different, and that all exists. The only way to truly get a story. How many people live in this town?
8 to 10 in the town, and then it's like 80,000 in the county.
Okay, so let's say there's 10,000 here. would be to do 10,000 stories.
Sure. Because
That's the only
everyone's
way to
experience is
it's
different.
the only way to really get it in
Yeah.
an accurate way.
Yeah.
But usually there's some consensus.
Mhm.
Like, for example, if there are, you know, people on the streets, every other step, someone's passed out, on fentanyl or
Yeah.
something, pretty much everyone say, "Hey, we have a fentanyl problem."
Yeah.
Right? So there's some consensus with most stuff.
Sure.
But then you realize how wildly different people are with what they think.
Mhm.
And that comes from their experience. And it's not for me to tell them they're right or wrong. It's to tap into that because I didn't live the life they lived.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I feel like life is about figuring out how the other half lives, you know? "Oh, this is what it's like for you," you know? And
Yes.
then what do you do with that information, I guess is the question.
When you can understand where someone's coming from, it definitely develops empathy.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree, but most things, I mean, some stuff's just bad.
Yeah.
Oops, I swear.
You can
Yeah, I
swear
got the
here.
I know, I've worked very 'cause, a lot of people more people are homeschooling. I don't know
Yeah.
if is that a thing out here?
Yes, very much
Okay,
so.
so a lot of parents in these small
And watch lots of
communities,
videos.
they're watching my videos
I
to
know.
understand the
I noticed
country, and
too.
I made sort of a there's a thank for not swearing, so I really try not to. In my
I
no
I've been amazed again, this is like how different people's perspective. It'll be like the outrage about cursing and then the complete shrugging the shoulders of like actually outrageous things, always
Yeah,
baffles me.
good point, good point.
Like that's always been weird to me. How do you make your stuff as palatable to as many people as possible is important. Like because you want to bring people in. So I think about that.
I want everyone to be able to watch or read this and not feel all triggered. And
Yeah.
here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
The number one comment goes something like this. My family and I can't get together for Thanksgiving without arguing about politics. We can't watch anything on TV that has anything to do with culture because Uncle Larry
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
arguing at Aunt Jane and blah, blah, blah. Your content is something we can all sit around and watch and enjoy together.
Yeah.
And so that's my lane.
Yeah.
Now, does politics get into things? Because politics gets into life. There's no way
Sure.
around it sometimes. And things are going to go into that. They're going to flirt along those
Everything
lines.
is the way that it is because of politics.
It's all policy,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Pretty
Right.
much everything
Yeah.
end results are because of policy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And economics,
Why
which
one
is from
why one
policy.
county is doing well and the other isn't, why the freeway is here as opposed to here, why, they grow soybeans instead of this or that, all these are ultimately are incentives and policy decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
I think about this all the time. My wife and I always talk about we've driven up from New Orleans. We were in Natchez, Mississippi, and we're going to Vicksburg. I wanted to see the Civil War battlefield. And we're talking to this waitress. She was telling us she's from there, and blah, blah. And I go, "Oh, so have you ever been to Vicksburg before? Like, what's it like? What should we expect?" And she's like, "I've never been."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "It's like 30 minutes away from here,
Yeah, yeah.
And you realize like, oh, just some people have literally never, for whatever reason, have never gone outside their little area, right? You talk to people, they're like, I'm going on my I'm flying on an airplane for the first time to visit my
Mhm,
aunt in Nashville. And you're like,
mhm.
okay, you're in your 40s. And so that's just a very different way of experiencing the world. Put aside passports, put aside international travel, whether you're, you know, setting up roots in one city or traveling by train. It's like some people haven't been to the next town over.
For sure. The most extreme form of that would be the Schwarzentroober Amish.
Yeah.
The Schwarzentroopers are what most people think of when they think of Amish. No technology, basically living in 1871, kerosene lamps. And I met up with some of those people when I was in Holmes County. Holmes County, people think of Lancaster County was the home of the Amish. Yes, it is, but Holmes County not far behind. And so, like everything, you have the Schwarzentroober on this end. For those listening, I got my hand way out to the right. And then you have the beachy Amish on this end. And now that's almost Mennonite.
Yeah.
And the beachy are going to drive around, use microwaves, and have electricity. Now they're all technically Amish. Now, when I was with some Schwarzentroopers that I met accidentally, and, I was very respectful. I'm like, guys, I'm making a video. They didn't really even know what a video was.
Right.
They didn't know who the president was.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That'd
I
be
said,
nice.
yeah, no, and this was 4 years ago. They just had no clue about any of this stuff. They're living in their own world.
Yeah.
And I said, do you mind if I show some of this? And they're like, Yeah, just don't have our faces on it. So I made a video without putting the camera on their faces. And the woman said to me, her number one question, I said, is there anything you want to know
Yeah.
about the outside world? She said, she looked up and she's like, have you ever flown in a plane? And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's that like? And I had to think about it. What's it like? I don't know. It's sort of like flying in a dream state through clouds and gets you somewhere really quickly. And then I
Yeah, she's
left.
getting you to think about something magical that you have completely taken for granted.
Totally. And I looked in the rearview mirror as I was leaving, and she's looking up at the sky, like, with a little smile. And you realize she's just as American as
Yeah.
you and I, in the same country. But, yeah, that's a different world.
And we also tend to think that those things, it's like, oh, way over here, far away, maybe there's these Amish people that are very, it's like, there's a Mennonite community like 5 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And it's like these things, if you look for them, you're
There's
closer
so
to
much.
this stuff. You're closer to people living in a completely different reality than you think. I mean, right down to unhoused and homeless people are living
Yeah.
in a completely different reality.
Mhm.
Every state, who's the richest person in that state? What is their life like compared to yours? Like, they might live in Texas, but they don't live in Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They live in the world and their domicile is in Texas,
Sure.
right? And like, it just the wide, enormous breadth of experiences that different people looking up at more or less the same horizon are experiencing.
Yeah, I have a part in the book called Neither Here Nor There,
Yeah,
and it's about people that are in the country, obviously,
yeah.
but sort of living in their own world. Siberian Yupik up in St. Lawrence Island, Alaska. You can see Russia from it. It's 30 miles away. 3 times the size of Maui. They still hunt whale every year, reindeer.
Wow.
Yeah. You need an invite to get on the island.
Yeah. And then you go to Molokai too. I mean, just like
Yeah, I bet Molokai, that's a
the Hawaiian Islands are radically different than each other.
Molokai and Oahu, 2 different universes.
Sure.
So the St. Lawrence in St. Lawrence Island, Siberian Yupik people, they've never seen a tree before. It's just too far north,
Sure.
right? And then you have the Chicanos, East LA, and if you tap into Chicano culture, it's its own thing. You'll meet guys that have a Spanish accent that don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Like they're speaking English with a Spanish accent. And then the Amish, I think, is the class, top example of, beating to their own drum
I
in
remember
America.
I was given a talk to a baseball team and I was just asking all these questions. This guy was telling me one of the faux pas is like if you assume one of the black players speaks Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Because like in that world, it's different than other parts of America.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, right. Because this is such a global game. You're drawing different distinctions, boundaries, in groups, out groups, whatever, that I'm even clocking is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited about Texas.
Texas
Because
is great.
I don't know much about Texas. When I was living in Lake Tahoe in my young 20s,
Where in Lake Tahoe?
I lived in Kings Beach, I lived in Homewood, I lived in
I
Tahoe City.
grew up in Homewood every summer. I worked at, do you know Obexers?
Of course.
My first job was at Obexers.
I started a business off the Obexers community board.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
When
was this?
I was hammered drunk one night and stoned with my buddy, and we're young Tahoe guys snowboarding all winter, and summer's coming around. What are we gonna do for work? This was 2000 probably.
Okay,
And I
roughly then. It would have been 2000, the summer of 2000, maybe 2001. So maybe
no
I made you a
way, dude,
sandwich.
I got those sandwiches all the time. Huge sandwiches.
I loved it.
You'd
PDQ is better.
You'd eat
but,
half at a time.
PDQ is better than Obexers sandwich-wise.
PDQ was better. So I was with a buddy late night, and we're like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna stay in Tahoe?
Yeah.
We're just
Right.
didn't want to have anything to do with getting a corporate job or anything.
There probably isn't one.
There isn't. You'd have to move off the hill.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to Sacramento or the Bay. There's all these wealthy people here. They need their cars cleaned. Auto detailing. I posted something at the PDQ, get a call the next day. And my buddy and I tore it up all night.
Yeah.
This is when I drank many years ago. Get a call the next day, and the lady's like, I'm calling about the auto detailing. And I'm like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
You had your first customer already and you'd already begun.
I had
Yeah.
no clue. And then I'm like, she's like, when can you get in the schedule? I'm like, hold on one second, ma'am. Let me check the calendar. I'm like, should I do this or not? And then I said, yeah. So my first job came out of there too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
But West Shore, what a place.
It's the best.
I lived 7 or 8 years up there. But if you wanna further your life, unless you're in real estate, construction, I guess own a restaurant,
Yeah.
there's not much.
Yeah, or you're a
Y
tech billionaire or something.
You're a tech billionaire. Now Incline Villages it was always wealthy, but it's really taken off.
Right, well, and then the point about you think it's one thing, it's the other. It's like, right, because you cross a state border and the taxes are different,
Yeah.
so it attracts a different clientele, and so it's just different worlds. The borders are made up and arbitrary, but one side of the line versus the other can mean a totally different experience, conception.
Yeah, I do miss that part of the country because you're in Tahoe in the winter and there's 8 feet of snow out your door.
Yeah.
In the same county, there are palm trees. You go down to Auburn.
I moved to Granite Bay when I was in high school,
Mhm.
and our house was in Placer County, and my parents' little cabin in Tahoe was also in Placer County.
Nice.
So it was like as suburbs get, and the mountains that, probably, I guess we're closer to the lake. But anyway, what's the lake at? 4,000 feet,
No,
5,000?
62.
Yeah. So like that much elevation climb in one county,
Yeah.
and then different worlds, different climates.
And then you go to Reno, it's dry,
Sure.
high desert, 8
Right.
inches of rain a year.
Yeah.
And then you got the Bay, San Francisco. My heart's there. I love that city.
Of course.
And then obviously the coast. It's really spectacular. I do miss it a lot. Do you miss it back there?
Of course. Yeah.
Because this is totally different.
It's totally different.
What do you like here? Just the big open spaces?
I
or-
love the big open spaces. For me, as I travel out in the middle of the country, it's nice.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think I like the space. I kind of like the heat.
People are nice.
People are nice. Yeah, you bounce around and you find your place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was ready to be done with California.
Okay.
So,
When did you move out?
2011.
Okay.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
but I've lived all over. But
Mhm.
this is like not compromises, but this checks a bunch of different boxes
Yeah.
that I wanted, and then then you set up roots, and then you're like, oh, this is where I live.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which is the interesting thing. You meet people and you're like, why are you here? And they're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I think you think people have an affinity for why they're there. And it could be people are there because they're taking care of their parents. People are there because
Yeah.
their car broke down at 40 years ago and they were like, this is where I live now. You know what? Like, it's not always like Nate Bargatze has a joke about, you grew up in this town and it was named after Andrew Jackson, and people go like, he was a bad guy. And he's like, we didn't know him. like
Yeah.
that's
it's a
not why
way-
we
it was a
live
while ago.
there.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
his point is like, we just put so much on people about where they live and why they live there and what it means. And people live there because, I was talking there's a woman, she is a dermatology clinic down the road. She's a dermatologist. She went to Harvard. I'm like, why are you here? She's like, because if I set my clinic up here, I got my student loan debt compensated. And if I did it in Austin, I didn't. So that's why I live here. And you
Yeah.
just realize like people live in different places for all, and that when you're open and you're curious, it gets so much more interesting
Mhm.
than when you think you know what it says about somebody.
Yeah, and there's a big uptick in people moving to rural areas. I mean,
And COVID, yeah.
depending, COVID was big
Yeah.
for that, and it also shows you, we have a housing crisis in this country, and housing's expensive in so many areas.
Yeah.
And then it's not
Yeah.
in do you want to live there though? That's the question. But I was just in Little Rock. I did a video there. I met this young couple. They bought a really cool home for $182,000 with land, nice ranch style, and you can go way cheaper. Even California, if you want to
Yeah.
go up to Crescent City,
Yeah.
and buy it's not dirt cheap, but I think you get something for like $250.
Or anywhere in Central California.
Central Valley.
I remember I
Yeah.
was driving from, where were we driving? We were driving from 30A to Orlando.
Okay.
So down the panhandle into
Sure.
Florida. I was like, I feel like just this 6-hour drive, you could solve the entire housing crisis in this country. You're just passing through nowhere with nothing in one of the now more expensive states. right? And you're
Yeah.
just like, how, you just realize like the one thing we do have is lots and lots and lots of space.
We're so lucky.
It's insane.
I think we're just 100 years behind Europe
Yeah.
with that, right?
Yeah.
Europe's tapped out. Western Europe, if you go to Switzerland or Italy, it's like, in a way, every square inch is sort of
Hmm.
taken. I mean,
Sure.
there's plenty of nature.
Yeah.
But as far as housing, if you're in Switzerland, they don't have the opportunity as a young person in America who could, like, again,
Yeah.
you got to have the right mindset, but like,
They're not building a
go to one of
development
these
with
frontiers.
1,000 houses like they're doing down the street anywhere in Europe. Because how? Where?
Exactly. When I moved out of Tahoe, I so badly wanted to move to San Francisco,
Yeah.
like so badly. And I was very practical with the numbers. And I'm like, man, if I move to Reno, which sounded it sounded awful when I said that to
Uh-huh.
everyone
Yeah. Yeah.
gave me a hard time on that one. They're like, you're ruining your life. Why would you go there? I'm like, yeah, but I want to own a house. And so it's 45 minutes down the hill.
Yeah.
That mortgage was cheaper than rent in San Francisco, and I wanted to go back to college, and I had to pay my way. So University of Nevada, no, it's not Harvard, but hey, I could have the opportunity to
Sure.
go, and I was paying. So it's like, all right, crunch the numbers, could do that. That time Reno is cheap. Reno's not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
Like that blew out. And so there's always this next place, or
Yeah.
like, how do you see it before the thing gets expensive?
Yeah.
And there's still plenty of places in this country. Now
That's the energy of America. There's still places to go, and
yeah,
people are able now to go back. Like it was Detroit for a while, right? You could go to places
you can
that
go back,
you go
yes.
back to places that were once nice, and that's your point about cities being in different points in the cycle.
Yep, Detroit downtown when I was there last, it was actually pretty nice downtown, but yeah, the population cleared out.
Yeah.
Common story, I mean, that's a theme I get into a lot. I think about, I want my videos not just to be a travel video. That
Yeah.
doesn't interest me. I would do
Yeah.
something else. But is there meat on the bone? Is there substance in there? Can we learn something? Like, what's the culture doing? And a theme I just see a lot is industrial town, industry left, jobs left.
Yeah.
Thing collapses.
And how that cycle repeats. I mean, the reason this area is
Yep.
booming between Austin is because Tesla is here and SpaceX is here
Oh,
and the Boring Company is here. And then all the adjacent things are coming around. And it's like, I don't know where that is in the cycle, but it doesn't last forever.
no.
Studebaker seemed like it would last forever. And, all these companies did and now we refer to that area as the Rust Belt, right?
Yep.
It's a cycle, and it might be your lifetime, it might be 2 generations, or it could be a really fast cycle. There's booms and busts. You see that in the Old West, that this was a metropolitan city and then it's Tombstone, Arizona, right?
Or the fact we still have company towns
Mhm.
in Arizona. So the company town was huge, what, 80, 100 years ago?
Yeah.
A lot in West Virginia. Got paid in script, company money, go to the company store. And I've done a lot of those videos. And then I was looking late night on Google Maps. I'm like, Baghdad?
Yeah.
Baghdad, Arizona? What? And so I go in on it and I start researching the town, and it's like, oh, Freeport McMoran owns this town?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a copper mine. And so they still have that old school structure, as in my company owns all the real estate. Everyone that lives there works for the company. And I went in thinking, look, company towns don't have a great reputation in the
Yeah.
past. I mean, they were basically
You're
almost
like an indentured servant. Yeah.
indentured servants, right? And you're stuck there. And then if your husband dies in the mine, the wife has to leave the housing immediately. It was awful, right? In many ways. I get out there to Baghdad, sort of with that in the back of my mind. And I just talk to as many people as possible. What's it
Yeah.
like living out here? And that starts into something else, because Americans are great at opening up and wanting to talk if you take interest. And so I'm getting into the story. They're like, oh, average salary, I believe around $90,000. My rent for my 3-bedroom, 2-bath home is $350. All healthcare taken care of. My kids are taken care of with summer camps. School's great.
Oof.
No crime, because if someone's had a lie, the company
just get
kicks them
fired.
out of town.
Yeah. It's good
And
while it lasts.
And it's good while it lasts. Copper's good right now. Not for me.
Yeah.
I'm guessing not for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that mold.
But for somebody, it's
but
the
I
dream.
can totally get it in this time now where it's like, where's your job going? Where's inflation going? How expensive housing is getting? I saw just like tamp down on the pressure
Yeah.
of
Sure.
modern life. I was like, that's pretty cool. And there are two of those towns. There's another one, Morenci, which is bigger in Arizona. And these open mine pits are insane.
Have you read Nomadland?
I haven't. I've heard of it. I haven't read
She
it.
talks about that. That's the dark side of the company town is Amazon sets up a temporary Christmas fulfillment center, or it's these
Right.
people that travel from sort of temp job to temp job in campers and RVs. And by the way,
That's a
that's a
video also, right?
yes. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a movie also.
it's a
Yes.
movie. I've seen it.
The book is
Yes.
incredible, the movie's
Okay.
also good, but just like you realize like the company town isn't always so permanent because it's seasonal, right? All the people that work adjacent to national parks or
Mhm.
this tourist season or this, big shipping or fulfillment or, mineral season, like, and that you're temporarily here and then we're all going here and we're chasing and you're never setting up roots. There's a sadness to it
Oh,
also.
yeah. So I was out, I believe it took place there, Quartzsite, Arizona.
Yeah.
They're living on BLM land.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are sold, hey, live cheap, live a cheap retirement.
Yeah.
Live out of your car, live it out of your van. That's all great until the summer comes around.
Yeah.
And a lot of people die out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore. There's a
No,
lot of drugs out there.
people should spend some time in some RV parks and get a different slice of what America is for some people and has
Yeah.
become because of the screwed up nature of our social safety net,
Mhm.
income inequality, it's how expensive stuff is.
Yeah, there are a lot of retirees suffering.
Mhm.
And
People just never retired from the
there's
financial crisis,
their Social
basically.
Security isn't keeping up.
Yeah.
And for example, my mom's, her property taxes just went up 25% in 2 years. She's on a fixed income.
Right. Right.
And there's a lot of those situations. I remember being in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a boom town. It's really taken off. And this old woman, just been there since the beginning, tiny home, and her property taxes were nothing.
Right.
And now because of the comps
Sure.
around her, gets reassessed and she can't afford
Right.
to live in her home. Which property tax is an interesting one because, look, I'm all for doing my part. I pay quite a bit of taxes. I'm sure you do too. But the property one's interesting because if you own your home and then you want to go monk mode, you're old, you don't have any maybe you don't have any money, it's not your home.
Who is the tax code favoring? Is it people who make lots of money? Is it people who make lots, and you realize like the part of the Texas, Florida dream is that it's actually quite hard on the low end. Not only do you not get the social services,
Mhm.
but if you own your own home, you retire or whatever, you're just getting slaughtered on these property taxes every year.
Yeah, I didn't
Because they
think
go up every year. In
I didn't
California, they don't go up.
Yeah, I didn't think the conversation would go into that, but it's a good one
Yeah.
because I think about this a lot because everything gets oversimplified, right?
Yeah.
The 1%. So the 1% could be that surgeon in Irvine
Mhm.
making $2 million a year.
Yeah.
Earned income, ordinary income, not to bore your audience, but it's like
Sure.
you're making money from
Yeah.
an employer. That guy's paying over 50%.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's in the same group as Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Right? The 1%.
Yeah, somebody
And-
who sold a company for $200 million might pay less taxes than the surgeon who makes $2 million.
And that one never opens up clearly.
Yeah.
Because the way it's set up for the uber wealthy, take out loans against your assets.
Mhm.
You're not getting ordinary income.
Mhm.
None of them would live in California if they were getting ordinary income and paying the full rip, right? And you depreciate X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And at that super high level, your effective rate is not much.
And then also on the other end of the spectrum, there's the people who are renting and then the people who maybe they've had this house in a, not so great part of town that's been in the family for a couple generations.
Yeah.
Right? A black family in the segregated part of Austin.
Mhm.
They've had it for, the parents gave it to the kid and maybe a grandkid lives in it. But now the property taxes, which were low even 10 years ago, are now $10,000, $20,000 a year.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that
So
happens.
I've
It's complicated.
It's complicated, but the property tax thing, when it's too much, is out of line. Now in Hawaii, they have the lowest property taxes. And I think it's because, look, Hawaii became a state in what, 1950?
Yeah.
all the natives would be
Yeah.
booted off,
Yeah.
right? If they had to keep up with those tax rates, a lot of them would. My brother lives in Kauai. Until recently, he rented from a native Hawaiian. There aren't many natives left,
Wow.
truly natives, like native, because everything gets mixed eventually. And he's like right in Honolulu. The place is probably worth, I don't know, $5 million. It's nothing much of a home, but because of location, if he had to pay the tax bill,
Sure, it'd be crazy.
he'd be smoked. Or you can go to native reservations, and that's a whole different story. 576 federally recognized tribes in this country, all different.
Yeah, you drive through and you realize just how big some of these reservations are. No, I mean, a fraction of obviously what their ancestral lands were,
Yeah.
which was the whole country.
Navajo Nation is the size of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Size of Israel, basically.
Okay, so as we wrap up,
Okay.
I loved your book because
Thank
it's an
you.
introduction to your fellow Americans. I think it's a great concept. Like, who are these people? We're all Americans, but we live in such radically different universes, different countries. I thought I'd recommend some of my favorite. We're in a bookstore. I'd recommend some of my favorite books that will also help people meet their fellow Americans, maybe more in a historical sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who Frederick Law Olmsted is?
Have not read it.
But do you know who he is?
Nope.
He's the designer of Central Park. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Audubon Park in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our great designers. But lead up to the Civil War, he rides a horse through all of Texas, several months, just all over Texas. One of my favorite things is he complains that Austin is getting too expensive. But he does this journey through Texas on horseback, and it gives this enormous glimpse of America at that time. He's meeting his fellow Americans right before we go to war with each other. Tony Horowitz wrote another book where he recreates the journey. It's his last book, and it's called Spying on the South. Also amazing. So take that.
Thank you.
Have you read The Warmth of Other Suns about the Great Migration?
Have not.
Oof. Okay, so this is obviously coming out of the Civil War, the reemergence of Jim Crow and segregation.
Yep.
Black people are like, we're majority, but we're always going to be a minority. They've kept us out of political power, so we got to go somewhere else. So where do they go? They go to New York, they go to Chicago, they go to Detroit, they go to California. That's what we call the Great Migration. That's what changes the face of the country, right? Because millions of people, it's like this great immigration. But,
to the industrialized
inside,
areas.
Exactly.
They're going up to Detroit,
out of the
Chicago.
Deep South.
Yep.
Chasing
going
jobs, chasing family. This is like
Fantastic.
10 books in one.
Thank you.
Here's Spying on. This is a recreation of Journey Through Texas.
Okay.
So you'll like that. And Life on the Mississippi. Brinker Buck builds a Mississippi flatboat. Gets in Illinois and recreates Lincoln's journey to New Orleans. Does all of the big American rivers as they would have done it 150 years ago. You will love this. I think there's a book in there for you. Ghost Rider? You're a Rush fan?
Of course. I'm seeing them.
You've read this?
I'm seeing them in 2 weeks in New York.
Me too. I'm going to see them. I think they're in San Antonio. I saw them on the 30th anniversary tour, so I got to see Neil Peart.
Yeah.
And then now
my
40th.
first show in Montreal, 16 years old.
Oof,
Rush. Counterparts tour.
Wow.
Yeah. Neil Peart was the best.
Have you read this book?
The Professor, yeah.
Oh, I think it's the best road trip book ever written about North
Anika
America.
Niles is doing a pretty good job. She's not Neil Peart, though.
I'm not going to watch any videos. I'm not going to listen to anything. I just want to be surprised.
No, they're doing well right now.
I'm also seeing Iron Maiden in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And they have a new drummer, too, because their drummer retired. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so great road trip book. And then Joan Didion, this is her table, by the way, does a road trip book. She's from Sacramento, but she does a road trip book through the South. It was supposed to be a larger book, but this is all that survives. You'll love this. Here is The Small and Mighty by Sharon McMahon. You'll love her.
Great.
She's great. What else would I add to this? I would add, have you read How to Hide an Empire?
No.
Okay. It's a history of the greater United States. So it's a history of all the territories, provinces. You know, like America doesn't see itself as an empire. America sees itself as the contiguous United States, and then Alaska and Hawaii are down here, even though they're way as far as you can imagine. At one point, America was 100 other territories. I mean, we saw this with the Bad Bunny nonsense, right? It's like, why do you have an American perform? So I thought maybe that's your sequel, is the greater American experience.
Right.
Because we don't see those people as Americans, but they are.
I haven't gone into territories. And that's on the list for sure.
I thought of that book when I was reading your book. I think you'll like it. Like, we don't even think, like, when Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, they're attacking America, even though it wasn't an American state yet.
Sure.
And then when they were attacking the Philippines, you know who they were attacking?
Yeah.
Not Filipinos,
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Because we were still in the process of being transitioned to home rule. But like, it would have been like Germany attacking Australia, right? Like, that's a blow at Great Britain. That's not another country.
Right.
But we so didn't see ourselves as a colonial power. And we've
Right.
never seen ourselves as a colonial
Right.
power. But we are. And we have been.
Is it because we weren't as bad as the Brits with that?
We weren't as bad,
Or
although
the Spanish or the Portuguese? Or...
What we did in the Philippines was heinous and horrible.
Sure.
But I think the more interesting thing is coming out of the Second World War, how we cobbled together an enormous empire that wasn't inherently colonial, that was about cooperation and collaboration. And hey, we'll lease a military instead of owning your country. Can we just have this little bit of land and we'll have a military base here and we'll have and now we're in the middle of dismantling that, not deliberately, but in a form of suicide, I guess. Like now we are in the middle of destroying and undermining that in a way that I don't think, because we didn't fully appreciate who we were, we don't fully appreciate where we're going. And you'll love this book. I'll give it to you next door.